Our industry is moving faster than ever. Where are freight volumes headed? How will this affect capacity? And of course, what's the newest technology that can benefit your business? Those questions and many more will be answered at the industry's hottest freight tech conference this November in Chicago. Come join us at FreightWaves Live November 12th and 13th at the McCormick Center. Visit FreightWavesLive.com to register.
Welcome to your Wednesday edition of FreightWaves Now. Going to be talking to Seth Holm yet again today with your finance update. I'm sure it's going to be entertaining and informative as always. But first off, let's see what Nick Austin has to say in regards to today's weather.
Welcome to FreightWaves Weather, your Wednesday edition. I'm FreightWaves meteorologist Nick Austin. Truckers will be running into all kinds of weather today, from the northern plains all the way to the Midwest and even the desert Southwest today. So let's get right to it. First, we're going to talk about the snowfall today from Montana all the way to the Great Lakes. A big band of snowfall has already been setting up. It started setting up last night, stretching all the way over into Wisconsin. Some heavy snow over Wisconsin today, back all the way into Montana. Now, some of the areas here that are highlighted in this kind of blue-green color across Montana, and then over here into southern Minnesota, Wisconsin, that's where some of the heaviest snow could fall, maybe up to 4 or 5 inches. It's not a major storm, but the snow could be coming down really hard at times, and that would limit visibility. And there'll be some areas where some freezing rain will mix in there, so there'll be some icy spots as well, parts of I-90, I-94, up into maybe even I-15 up in parts of Montana. So that's going to be some trouble, at least for the daytime today. Another band of snow will set up tonight across southern Wisconsin and parts of Iowa and Nebraska and up into the Chicago metro area later tonight. So there'll be some more problem spots to look out for during the nighttime, evening and nighttime hours. Now, we're also going to see the potential for some heavy rain and flooding, thunderstorms setting up today, scattered across the desert Southwest, and some heavier storms possible in parts of northern Texas, up into northwestern Arkansas, Fort Smith, Fayetteville, and up into possibly Tulsa and Oklahoma City. That's where the best chances are for some flash flooding, possibly roadblocks on some highways and secondary roads. And some of these storms from the southwest into the plain states, the southern plains, could also contain some severe winds, at least in isolated spots. So you have to watch out for that. Maybe some large hail, possibly 1 or 2 really just isolated tornadoes across this region can't be ruled out. Looking ahead a little bit into tomorrow and Friday, the interior portions of the Northeast, from Burlington, Vermont, near Watertown, New York, all the way up to Maine, Thursday and Friday, the first significant snowstorm of the season for this part of the country. Several inches of snow, possibly strong winds blowing snow, a lot of limited visibility, and possibly some wind damage and power outages too. That again will be from Thursday and Thursday night and even into part of Friday for the northernmost part of Maine and New England. Luckily, this won't affect a lot of the major markets along the I-95 corridors, but a lot of problems for the interior spots. That's a look at the weather for your Wednesday. Be sure to watch all of our videos, all the FreightWaves videos on our YouTube channel. Have a great day and be careful out there.
Welcome to your Wednesday edition of the Carrier Update, sponsored by Powerfleet. My name's Kyle Cunningham. Thanks so much for joining me. Yet again, we're looking at outbound tender volume levels for the USA. Blue Mountain here is currently this year's volume, and this line right here is last year's volume. So you see, if you follow these daily, that these track in pretty much the same pattern, or at least they had. Now where we're at, we can see that this year's volume has now crossed below last year's volume level. We really need to see these come back up. Let's take a look and see when this has happened previously. Going back in time to mid-May, you can see this happened right around mid-May right here, but the 2018 volumes kept climbing, whereas the 2019 volumes right here continued to drop, but eventually ended up catching up down the line. What's happening inside of the market? We're looking at the DAT van rate now. This is without any sort of fuel surcharge, no accessorial fees, and this line right here is your total fleet counts for the entirety of the USA. Over time, from all the way back into 2015 to pretty much July of 2018, it really seemed to be that everything was running smooth. Rates were rising at the same time the total fleet counts were rising. This big jump right here, huge jump in capacity, jumps up, rates come down. So that tells you everything you need to know right there, right now. Let's take a look at this comparison to the outbound tender rejects with that same total fleet count rising. You can see here your outbound rejects coming all the way down 78% from where it was way back at the start of the origin point. So let's take a look at outbound tender rejects all across the country, dividing these up in between two different sections. On this side right here, we've got everything above 10% showing carrier favorability. And on this side right here, we've got everything that's under 10%, indicating the power lies with the brokers and the shippers. Now, I don't have to tell you which side's bigger. This side has a whole lot more power, and if you can see in comparison to green and red, the weekly changes, these guys are showing a lot of red, a lot of rejects turning down, indicating a lot of capacity, indicating that wherever your assets are in these markets are going to be a lot less valuable where they're at in this market. These markets, they're going to be a whole lot more valuable. So let's take a look one more time as we roll over to today's market, Toledo, Ohio, looking at inbound tender rejects. So pick this one because you got these big runs up, indicating carriers don't want to go in these markets, and the outbound rejects generally follow. So Blue Mountain inbound, green yellow line here, outbound. As it stands today, the same pattern has taken up 16.8% in terms of inbound rejections, but the outbound did not follow. So outbound rejections in Toledo, 5.49%. It's pretty soft all around. So hopefully that helped you out today. As always, make sure you watch your carrier update every single day. Now it's time for your Wednesday brokerage update with none other than Donny Gilbert, talking about what's going on all across the country. Love to see some maps, a lot of different colors. Tell me about this one.
Well, we talked about earlier, tender volumes dropped again, 111 more index points from yesterday. So now we've actually dropped down below where we were at 2018. We saw the lines actually cross, which is disappointing. We wanted to see it turn back up. And this, this early in the fourth quarter, or kind of midway through the fourth quarter, we should see it start picking back up. But we're kind of in a soft market right now. So here what I've brought you is our outbound tender volumes on a US map, but this is a 1 week change. So it's kind of, the delta between where we were last week to this week. And one thing that really sticks out here is the red in Southern California. Here are the markets that we are expecting to really pick up. These are the markets that push the fourth quarter rush here before the holiday season. And we have markets dropping. You see bright red in these areas through the mountain prairie region and all the way over and into the Midwest here. We're seeing Memphis is red, Atlanta's red, some of your coastal markets, Savannah, another big port market, red. Volumes are dropping. And this is where we can tell and see. In the Northeast, we see, we got the Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, down and through New Jersey, New York, volumes are dropping.
Now this is troubling to see Memphis go red, because I've never seen Memphis go red. And then you've got Pendleton up here, bright blue.
Yes, so we were still moving some produce products out of Pendleton, which is actually holding that market up. The Pendleton in this area right through here, this has been one of the areas that have actually held volumes up for the country, because we've had this rush of course we got potatoes and we had hops moving out there earlier, and this season is still moving on, and it's held tender rejection rates up for reefers as well. So this has been a positive drive, while we've had a lot of other markets that have actually been dwindling down slowly. So now we're starting to see it as we get into mid-November, where we're kind of hurting at, and these are the major markets. But Memphis is a major railhead, Savannah is a serious, it's a port market, and so is LAX, which got rail and the port. So this is where we're seeing the struggles, and hopefully these will be the markets that we need to turn back around, especially the Southern California and the ports. Now diving into something a little bit different, these are our tender rejection rates for dry vans. So specifically dry vans and the actual tender rejection rates. So here again, the markets that are in white are about 7.5% or lower. So those markets are either right at, maybe right above contracted rates, or down below. So here we see what's starting in the light shades of blue. These are where your contracted rate, or your spot market rates are actually climbing above contracted rates. And we see this through a lot of the markets that are in the Midwest. And a few down here, we got Mobile, Alabama. That's also a port city, but we've seen Mobile picking up a little bit too. So here are some of the areas that you need to be looking forward to seeing your trucks to. And that's, right around the market I'm going to look at here next, being St. Louis. And of course, you see up in the Northeast, out on the West Coast, these markets are either very flat or they've been declining.
Right.
So diving into St. Louis, this is the market that I like for today and that I kind of looked at today. Drive-in tender rejection rates, we see them trending upward, up to 8.73%. That means that we're trending above contracted rates. This is a market here that's moved up in the past 7 days, over 2 or 3%. So spot market rates are moving up. This is where you need to go up. You need to bid a little bit higher because the rates are still trending up. So what your cost is today, it might be a little bit higher tomorrow. Reefer's doing even better. It's up to 18.82%. And it also has picked up in the last 7 days. It kind of flatlined there a little bit for the last couple of days, but still trending upward. So again, increase your bids on both drive-in and reefer because they are still trending up. And with this rates being well above your contracted rate, this is the area that you can actually make a good margin in as a broker.
Donny, thanks so much. Fantastic perspective yet again from none other than Donny Gilbert. As always, stay tuned every day for your brokerage update. Joined now by Seth Holm with our finance update on this Wednesday. Seth, looks kind of complicated, but I know you're going to break it down for us. Tell us what's going on.
That's right, Kyle. So today I want to talk about a brand new report that will be in Sonar by the time this video posts. It's called, Is Slowing Down the Speed of Your Truck to Increase Profitability Worth It? So basically what I wanted to do was give you the quick background on what we covered in the report and some of the highlights. So to start off, Dean Croak, who's one of our executives here, came to me and said, Seth, if you decrease the speed of your truck from 75 miles an hour to 65, you'll save $10,000 a year. And so can you show me the calculations of what that would take to actually drop that to your bottom line? So that's basically exactly what I did here. Now, it's pretty common in transportation for either trucks or ships to slow down their rate of speed when rates are low or depressed. It's a way to add a little extra income to the bottom line and to sort of effectively decrease capacity at the same time, because if everybody's traveling slower, it takes a little bit of capacity out of the market. Now, I've got two charts for you today. On this first one, this is from the ATRI. This is 2017, which were the latest numbers we had as of this report. This is a line item, operating cost by line item for a given truck driver. This is all their data, and this is on average. Now, what I had to do first in the report was I had to inflate or deflate each line item to 2019 dollars. And the reason why it matters is because diesel prices have increased by 15% since then. Okay, so what I did then, the last thing I did was, if you want to save $10,000 in fuel expense, that equates to driving 23% less fuel is what it is. But then, hey, that's not free, right? You need to actually increase your maintenance expense, your tires, and your tolls by 23% as well. And what that does is that when I go to chart 2, I'll show you what we found.
Just point it that way. We'll cut it. There you go.
Okay, so this is the main takeaway here. From this chart, if you look down here at the bottom of the chart, it's exactly, you make $10,000 exactly more. And to do that, you have to drive an extra 27,000 miles a year, or it works out to about 90 miles a day. So if you can do it, slowing down your speed, it actually has pretty profound implications, because that's like a 60% increase in operating profit per truck. Whether you're an owner-operator or a large carrier, it can make a meaningful difference if you can do it.
That's amazing. And so this is why it's important to stay tuned to the finance updates that happen every Wednesday with Seth Holm. Thanks so much, Seth. Thanks so much to you for watching. If you're on YouTube, be sure to hit like and subscribe and follow us on all our social media channels, whether that's LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter, and we will see you again tomorrow.